Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
What's up? All right, I got everything working. Let's say it says we have 10 viewers, but go ahead and drop where you guys are from. If you guys can hear everything, great. I'm hoping everything goes good tonight with this show. So, because this is one we had to reschedule and we're back, and I hope this is going to work tonight. So, yeah, just let me know if you're live, because I'm trying to find the feed on Facebook, and I don't know. It says error loading. We might not be live. Oh, the audio is good so far. All right, everybody's talking. Landon, can you hear me and see me? Florida. Okay, as long as everybody can hear me and see me, we're up and going. That's great. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have a sound guy in another week or so, and we're going to be good. We're going to roll with this, and yeah. So if you guys can hear me and see me fine, go ahead and drop where you're from tonight. I love to see where everybody's logging in and watching tonight. And if you can, go ahead and share it for me. Go ahead, share the feed out there. We almost hit 100 feeds this past Tuesday, or 100 shares this past Tuesday. So go ahead, share it. Get it out there for me. Because we're gonna have a good one tonight. We have a good talk, and even, man, this music's gonna be awesome. But welcome to season 3 of the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, a place where we connect melodies to memories with both fans, artists, and some of the most interesting people in and around the music community. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver. Tonight, we're presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com, as well as Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. You can find her all over Facebook. And then last but not least, Corey Oliphant and the original church choir. I'm just happy to have Corey and all those guys with me every week as a weekly sponsor, because the show started back in season 1 with the first 10 episodes, all those guys. And it was really cool having them on and be able to talk with them, and having them still supporting us every week. So if you guys are looking for ways to support the show out there in any way, I talk about it every week. Patreon is our heart and soul. I'll share the link in the feed. Check it out. We are having an awesome after show tonight. We're going to bring Mitch back for a couple more songs and some really good ones. We're going to break them down and really just break down his songwriting, which I cannot wait, because dude's one of the best songwriters if you guys have not heard him yet. So cannot wait for that. So I'll go ahead and share the link. Right now, we are doing our monthly giveaway, which is a t-shirt by tonight's guest, Mitch Rossell, as well as an autograph, Divine Devils by Jeremy Spillman book, a $25 Chief merch gift card, and it's all being drawn next Wednesday night on our show with Craig Campbell. So we're not doing a show on Tuesday due to election night. We're moving it back one night to Wednesday, the 4th. So I love to see where everybody's watching from. Michigan, look at that. Robert, Flat Rock, Michigan. I love it. But yeah, if you guys are in our Patreon, $5 and up sponsors do get entered in every month to our giveaway. Our current goal is 100 Patreons. We're 31 people away. And as well, we have 2 on-screen sponsorships still left. So you could get your logo seen by 10, 20,000 people weekly on these shows. So everything's been amazing, growing really super rapidly with this show. And I got to thank you guys for it, because it wasn't for all you guys out there watching, supporting, sharing, liking. We just reached top 40 of the Apple music interviews again. So, and I was like right next to Billy Strings, which if you guys don't know who Billy Strings is, go look the dude up. He's amazing. So it was really cool to be in that company. But tonight, talking about some good company. Tonight's guest, we welcome in East Tennessee native Mitch Rossell. I first came across Mitch about 10 years ago or so. We had our guest on a couple weeks ago, Trevor George. And Trevor and I, we go way back. And one of the first artists Trevor ever really talked to me about was Mitch Rossell. And I started listening to this kid right after he got, I still call him a kid because that's when I first known him. He was, I think, fresh out of high school or college. I mean, just like 10 some, I don't know. We're going to talk to him about all of it. But he came to Nashville, and ever since he's been taking the world by storm. And I've been watching the kid just shape his career and just grow into it. And he started knocking on the door of some pretty big names. So it's gonna be cool to really bring him in and talk to him. So guys, let's welcome in Mitch Rossell. Is this gonna work now? Uh-oh. Hold on, let me unmute you. Well, we had it working, guys, a second ago.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, man.
All right.
I just don't see you on the camera right now. Let me see if let me do this a different way. Can you guys, hold on a second. I'm going to have you guys be my ears here in a second, because we are doing this via Zoom tonight. So we had to do this a different connection in a different way due to the issues we had last week. So we're going to bring him back on. All right, buddy. Let's see. Go ahead and talk and see if everybody can hear you.
Yep. Can you hear me? Hello? All right.
Can you guys hear him at all? Let me see in the chat. Let's see. Landon, where's my chat guy here? He said all is good now. So, all right, guys, welcome Mitch Rossell to the show. I do apologize. This is a Zoom. Like I said, we have to go by that. But, dude, welcome. I'm glad to finally have you and have this working out where we have some audio and we can hear you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope it stays rocking for us here. Technology. Jeez.
Oh, it's crazy. And I like it because you want to sound good and everything else. You have the audio, and a lot of people just come in, put their cell phone up, grab their guitar and go. And I do appreciate the fact that you do try to make this legit tonight.
Trying, apparently not doing a very good job.
No, it's awesome though. Because
I try to trying to put this phone up somewhere where I want to look down. Because since we're doing this on Zoom, like Aaron said, I can't see him or anything he's showing, so I got to put my phone up there.
Yeah, we're gonna be sharing a bunch of pictures throughout the night and everything else. So let's go way back when, dude. When you really first got turned on to music, what was it that you were listening to? I mean, what was your parents raising you on, man?
Man, I grew up mainly on 90s country, honestly. But back then I listened to, classic rock a little bit, modern alternative stuff like Matchbox 20 and all that stuff when it was popular back in the 90s. That's what my mom listened to a lot. And so I got a little bit of different flavors, but mainly country music. Yeah, 90s country.
Nice, man. And especially growing up in East Tennessee, I mean, I was talking about Alabama being rich history, but East Tennessee, I mean, you had what was it? Kenny's from that area, so you probably looked up to a little Kenny Chesney and stuff like that growing up. So you lost your dad at a young age. How do you think that affected you musically? Because that's around the same time you started playing, right?
No, so I didn't start playing until about 8 years later.
Oh, wow, okay.
After I graduated high school, I started playing. I think it affected me in a lot of ways. I mean, I think it affected me as a person, obviously, and so that obviously spills into your writing and your creativity. And I think it affected me in the type of songs that I gravitated towards, and the type of songs that I love to write. So yeah, it definitely had a big impact on me in that way.
So, but going that route, and then you start playing, you said 8 years later, and that was kind of like a tribute to your dad. But I did read or hear somewhere, and I wanted to kind of dig into this before we kind of move on to another topic. Your dad left you a journal. And when I heard about this, I actually went on Amazon and bought a journal because I wanted to start writing one and leaving one for my kids. My oldest is 6, my youngest is 3. But what all was in that? I mean, what did that mean to you?
Man, honestly, it's probably my most cherished possession.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that because I actually bought my boys a journal each, and I just log different things when they do certain things.
Yeah, dude.
Days or just random stuff, that.
My 6-year-old gave my 3-year-old a bloody lip yesterday.
Yeah, it's really, it's really cool, to go back and read that stuff. And it was a little bit of everything.
That's
things
cool.
Going through things that, he saw in me, and just all kinds of different stuff. Is really, really neat to read.
Just some life lessons too, to kind of get you on your way to going. So did you got pretty close to your grandfather then? I assume after that, correct?
Yeah. So my grandparents have always been kind of like this steady, force in my life that kind of helped keep me some stability, I guess. They've always been there. They've always just been so supportive of me, and just really, if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be. So
you got to tell me about the '69 car, man, that you and your grandfather worked on. You just was that your cash to go, or
'68 Camaro? And it wasn't like a numbers matching car, and it wasn't anything crazy special like that, anything like that. But it was a really cool.
I'm sure there's some blood, sweat, and tears in there, though.
What'd you say?
I said I'm sure there's some blood, sweat, and tears that went into that vehicle.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of wrenches turned on that car. We did a lot to it. It was fun, man. We just tried to restore it and make it.
Did you ever keep track of where it went or who got it?
No, I mean, I was there when we sold it, but we didn't get the guy's information or anything. But yeah, it was to fund my Nashville trip. So yeah, we spent a lot of time working on it. I love that car. It turned a lot of heads, that's for sure.
All right, dude. Yeah, when I first heard about that, I was like, man, that is really cool, though, and that kind of funded you. So you were fresh out of college, right?
Yeah, that was actually that was in college that I had that car. That was my probably third year of college, something like that. Maybe my senior year.
So then, fresh out of college, you ditched the car and said, "I'm off to Nashville, huh?"
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was tough.
So
did you call on the car? But
did you know anybody in Nashville when you went, or did you just kind of just say, hey, "I'm just going to sell everything I got, or what I got? I'm just going to go. I'm going to jump."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I knew Trevor a little bit, but we weren't like buddies yet. We just, we'd met, I think, once at that time, or maybe twice.
Trevor was just the crazy fan with a camera running around at that time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
God, him and I have stories.
I knew Trevor a little bit, but other than him, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Trevor, I wouldn't remember some of my drunken nights at church back in the day.
Yeah.
So when you first got to Nashville, your journey was a little different because everybody says it's a 10-year town. For you, you went in 2014, so you kind of within 6 years, within 4 years, you were kind of making some waves. But
no, actually, I don't know where the 2014 thing was from. I actually moved here in 2010.
2010. That's where I'm sorry, I wrote it down the wrong.
Yeah, so I moved here. Actually, technically, it was
2014 was something else. Yeah,
2009. So I don't really count 2009 because I was here all of 36 hours in 2009. But yeah, so basically got here right at the beginning of 2010, and it took me, I guess, 5 years, maybe 6 years to get. 2014
is when you sent that email out to Garth, correct? Right. Yeah, that's where I wrote down was 2014.
It wasn't. It was 2 years later that he actually cut a song. He loved what I was doing. He loved my stuff, and that's how we became friends. And started writing together and just hanging out and getting to know each other. Was through that first email, and then a couple of years. I think it was almost 2 years exactly. It was maybe a little over 2 years. Wrote "Ask Me How I Know" and sent it to him, and the rest, as they say, is history.
That's awesome that all that happened. That just the way it happened, though, man, and the way it. Because you had to be. I mean, we all are. We were all fans of Garth growing up in the 90s. I'm sure you're probably mid 30s right now or so. But so,
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably definitely was definitely a huge Garth guy back in the day. So just even connecting with him, like I'm sure was huge for you. Just like even get like an email back. Like, how was that feeling when you just saw that email go off and be like, oh shit, you just emailed me back?
Man, it was euphoric. Honestly, I've never felt anything like it. I woke up that morning and I always check my email first thing. I wake up and had a meeting at like 10 a.m. that morning, woke up, checked my email and saw it. And I just literally freaked out. And just couldn't believe it.
That's when you call mom, dude.
So it was crazy.
And it's funny because like I talked to Trevor a couple weeks ago and like his story, he told his mom, he even wrote a letter. Hey, I'm going to Nashville working for Garth Brooks. And he wasn't going to settle for less. And you are the type of guy. And I mean, I've got to see you probably 10 years now. I'm saying I just showed an album cover. When did you put that first album out that you had out?
Man, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah. That was like 2008 though, right?
I don't even know.
See, I don't even, as I say, I don't have the time. I don't have the date
2008 or
written
9, maybe 2009.
So it was around then because you had a fishing song on there or something fishing.
Oh, gosh.
Because well, it ended up on my iPod or whatever back in the day. It ended up on there. And whenever I'm on road trips, dude, it's still to this day that song still comes up. Like I even think I sent you a copy or like a screenshot of one of the songs I had on my phone, and it's this one that still comes up, and I'll still jam out those songs every now and then, man. That's why I shared, because that was around the first time where I met Trevor and we started talking about you, and he's like, "Oh man, I got this kid that I know that just came to town." And so when you were going to do the music video and he pitched Boonville to you, man, how was that for you? Just like them welcoming you in that town and everything that went on there.
Yeah, so initially we were going to do that in my hometown, and we were going to do it in my high school, and some things just got squirrely with that, and so we had to scramble at the last few weeks and figure it out, and I'm so glad it happened. You know, it's one of those things where at the time you're like, golly, it's like falling through here at the last minute, and then looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing that could have happened, because Boonville was awesome. I mean, those folks down there, they're just great people, man. They're really kind to us.
Mississippi, dude. There's just something in the water down there.
just really were awesome. I had a great time down there, and I'll never forget it. And Trevor, he told me, man, it was they would bring it, and he was right. So.
Yeah, you had a football stadium packed, and it's funny, man, because I remember it was shortly after we moved home was when you were down there and filmed it, and I had a bunch of friends in car, and they're like, "Oh man, this big time country singer is coming to Mississippi." Dude, they were all excited, man. And I looked at them, I'm like, "Well, what's his name?" And they said, "Oh my God, I know this guy." I was like, "All right, this is gonna be cool." So that's when I kind of really found out you guys were going down there and filming and all that other stuff. So, but you've had some really cool journeys and worked with a lot of cool people over the time. And I know we talked briefly about a song called "A Soldier's Memoir." I know we're jumping around real quick, but tell me about writing that song and with Joe Bachman too, because I did not know. I don't know why I never put two and two together that it was the same song, but I know Joe, and I met Joe years ago. He used to come up here and play a lot of shows at Blarney's Island in Antioch, Illinois, and he would play that song. I just fell in love with that song, and then when I was kind of researching for the show, I came across your version of the song. I was like, "Oh hey," I was like, "This is the same song. Okay, I like this." And awesome. But writing with him, I shared that whole experience with that song because I know he's a veteran, right?
I don't know that Joe served.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I don't think he did. But
I know he does stuff with them or does something. I thought he did something.
He definitely does a lot with veterans and for veterans. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a cause I know he's passionate about.
But just tell me how that song came about, man.
Yeah, we wanted to write something about some of the traumatic brain injury issues that haven't really been talked about much in song form. It's become. I mean, we wrote that song probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know. I need to look and see when that was written. But just in the past 5 years, a lot more awareness has been raised with some of those things that these men and women deal with. But at that time, it was really not talked about very much. And so we just thought, there's all these songs about the physical signs, the things that you can see. If a veteran comes home and he's missing an arm or something, we see that and it's tangible to you, But if he's hurting here and here, you can't always see that, And we just wanted to hopefully try to give them a voice and also give the people around them that are trying to understand that a little more of a maybe a more understanding, bottom line, more understanding of what their loved one may be going through. And we weren't sure. We were just taking it off of experiences we had with veterans talking to us. So we weren't arrogant enough to think we were going to nail it. But it's been really cool to see all the response from guys who are living through this stuff and saying, "Hey man, this makes me, reminds me I'm not alone." And this is got me through so many tough nights. Whatever it is, it's just incredible. Power of music, and if you just kind of try to do something with the right intentions, it'll turn out pretty cool a lot of times.
And
So,
I think that's a problem, honestly, that's facing a lot of people. Because in the industry I work in Illinois, I see it a lot too. Because a lot of people are just, I mean, that's one thing that a lot of veterans are still suffering with is just the fact of what they saw and what happened while they were over there.
yeah,
And I look at it, just not even veterans that can have PTSD. My wife's a nurse at a cancer hospital, and I don't know how she does it. And I mean, that I'm sure it has to give people PTSD too. So to have a song or have something where they could go back to is awesome, man. And especially the lyrics of that song and the way it just came together. So it was funny though when I first heard it. I'm like, oh God, I'm like, wait, Mitch and Joe. Oh, and I looked at and did the research, saw you guys were co-writers on it together. I was like, now that makes sense. So that's why I like those two songs so much. You two are both favorites of mine. So, but your songwriting style, dude, I feel is something different, something that a lot of people don't have. I see a lot in Eric Church. I feel like he's a lyrical genius too, but the way you could paint a picture on some of your music, where did that come from? Where does your creative flow come from, do you think, when it comes down to writing songs, dude?
well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I'm really flattered you think that. I don't know that I have a clear answer on that. I just, I'm a lyric guy. That's what I gravitate towards. I can hear a song that, maybe a lot of people are like, can't really get into because the melody is not really that great in their opinion. But if the lyric is there, even if I don't love the melody, I can still love a song. And so I've always been that way. And I love stories. I love to feel like you take me on a journey. And it's been really cool to hear stuff like that because even other people like, when I was early in town, maybe a few years in, one of the guys that really kept me going is a guy named Jody Williams. And he was the president of BMI for a long time. And now he's just started. So he ran a publishing company, then worked for BMI, and then I think he's starting another publishing company, going on another adventure with that. And
for you guys out there listening, you guys probably know him as Driver Williams' dad.
Yes, Driver Williams' dad, absolutely. So Jody, I met Jody early on, and man, he was just so supportive of me and just had the nicest things to say. And one of the first times I ever played songs for him, he goes, Mitch, you just have this really unique way of taking me on a trip. Like from the first verse to the last note, it's just, he said, it's just, I can see everything. I go on this journey with you. And that always was such a compliment that carried me through some really tough times. Cause I knew he had heard a ton of songs and had a lot of success in the business. And for a guy like that to say something nice to you like that is pretty special. And so thank you for agreeing with what he said. I don't know where that comes from. I guess it's the stuff I love. And so I guess maybe I just kind of channel it subconsciously and really, I want to paint pictures and I want to dig into something that's real. And I think that's another part of it. When you dig into something that's real to you, it's easy to describe it in a way that's paints a picture for people because you're seeing it as you're writing it,
And I think that's what that has me remember your songs from 10 years ago, like the songs I said just made its way on my iPod, because like, even though if I didn't recognize your voice or know who it was, I remember those lyrics, like when I was just flipping through, driving down the road or something from 10 years ago. So, you have those like songs in your iPod that like sometimes you don't know who's singing them, but you're just driving down the road singing along because that was before they displayed the names of the songs or the artists or whatever. But I always would hear a couple of your songs on there, but I always would go back, oh, those were Mitch's songs. And cause I would recognize the writing on them. And they was just so detailed. And I loved it, man. And just, I saw how you grew into a writer and you were a huge Church fan. I know that back in the day, you even got to work with him, dude. How did that happen?
Yeah. I became a big fan of his from that first record. And I got the opportunity to do that. The ACMs were doing this thing where they were pairing YouTube, some of the bigger YouTube content creators.
I was saying, do you want to call yourself a YouTube star? No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say YouTube star. I hate to say that about myself. I'm not a YouTube star at all.
No, you had a good following. I mean, you had a bunch of views on YouTube, didn't you?
I did, man. I was kind of on that path. I was one of the early creators, and I was probably one of the top, probably the top 3, definitely one of the top 5 country guys doing covers and doing the YouTube thing. And I don't know why I did it, but I just kind of quit because I was afraid I was going to be known as a cover artist.
Yeah.
So I just stopped uploading videos because I knew I wanted to be a songwriter. I knew I wanted to be an original artist. Looking back, I feel like I probably could have just done that and stuck more original stuff out there, but it is what it is. Hindsight's 2020. But yeah, ACM's reached out and said, hey, we want to pair up some of the bigger YouTube content creators with some of the, guys that are already rocking on radio and all that. And so they thought I was a good fit to do a duet with Eric Church. And I think I had the Smoke a Little Smoke cover that I did up at that point.
I remember that one. That was one of the early duets or covers you had. I remember. I think Trevor sent me that one. It's like, dude, you got to check out this cover by this guy.
Thanks, man. So that's how that came about. And we met up to film it, and he was great. I had heard that, he it wasn't probably his thing, his style to do that sort of thing. But I think when I actually played the part right and I knew the words, and I think he got into it more because he was like, okay, this guy's really for real. He's this isn't like a vanilla, whatever. So I think it went really well. We really clicked. And
well, that's why I'm kind of sharing this photo too on the left-hand side, or I don't know what side is on your guys' screen, on my left-hand side, but even the look on Eric's face here, you can see Catherine standing in the background. It's kind of funny. I think you kind of wowed him in the hallway, man. So if you guys want to go look, I think it's on Trevor's page or somewhere. You can still find it on YouTube, but it's like kind of like a behind the scenes version of the day. So before you guys did the green screen, you're on the hallway and you start rocking a Smoke a Little Smoke, and Eric's kind of fading in, and you got Eric swaying to his own song. Not many people can do that, dude.
I was nervous as shit. I'll be honest with you, but it was just, I think when, we're stylistically, we're different in a lot of ways. We have a lot of similarities too, but we're different too. But I think real recognizes real, you know, and that's not me bragging. It's just me. I don't know how to be anything else. And I think he recognized that I was authentically trying to do what I do, and not, I've never chased anything. I've never been a guy that tried to be something I wasn't. And so I think it's kind of a subconscious thing. You just recognize in each other and you just vibe off each other.
I think he saw that you were an artist. I think he saw the artist in you, and that's why he did it. I mean, first off, he was probably there because he had to be there. His label probably said, if you don't go and do this, and so he went and did it. But I think he really enjoyed doing it with you, because I don't think he needed to. I mean, I watched that behind the scenes, and he was good with just the one take. It's like, all right, whatever, let him do it, man. Because that's just Eric, man. Eric was always just laid back and chilled, and to see him do something like that is very rare. So it was really cool that still to this day you could find it, and that was something that happened for you. But so you were knocking on doors, dude, early. I mean, because that was just a couple years after you moved there, right?
That was in, probably 2013, maybe. So I've been there maybe 3 years.
When did you getting the gig at Tootsie's? Because didn't you like just get thrown up at Tootsie's one day with this a random band too?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. I had been in town maybe about 8 or 9 months, and a guy named John Driscoll Hopkins, he was the original bass player for Zach Brown Band. Now he plays all kinds of different instruments for him. But he was one of the first three, him and Jimmy and Zach, I think, were the first three guys. And so he reached out to me because he saw a song that I had online called Praying It Don't Rain. It's an old original. I know you know it, I'm sure, but song's opened a lot of doors for me. And he reached out to me and said, hey man, is this your song? Are you the same guy? If I found the right guy on Facebook here. I said, yeah. And when he messaged me, he said, John Driscoll Hopkins, Zach Brown Band. And I was like, yeah, right. I'm sure he's in the Zach Brown Band. So I messaged him back. I was like, you never know. Maybe it's really him. And long story short, I got to go hang out with those guys at a show in Kingsport, Tennessee. And long story short, from there, I ended up on the bus with Zach, and we just sat there and played songs for about 2 hours. Just me and him, just playing songs back and forth that we had written. And it was an amazing night. And so they invited me out on a cruise that they were hosting, and they were like, hey man, we'd love to have you out. We'll you don't have to pay for your room, just pay for the taxis. Yeah,
dude. I remember when they did that big old cruise a couple of years back or whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. And at the time I was working at a bank. I'd been there maybe, 4 or 5 months. And I said, hey, I really need to have these days off. It was just like like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a long cruise, but the manager, really cool guy, but came back and he goes, man, I would give it to you, but the policy for the branch or for the bank is you have to work here a year before you can have any PTO or time off. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I definitely understand, where you're coming from. And I just thought about it that rest of that day, and I ended up putting my 2-week notice in the next day, and had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was like just praying about it like crazy. Drove down to Florida, pulled into the port, and I got a call when I pulled into the parking lot from Tootsie's, and they had seen videos. I think that Trevor had gone down and told them about me.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw videos, and they said, hey, I want you to come try out for Tootsie's when you get back. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's so awesome. So I went on the cruise, came back, went out that Friday night, and they literally, I thought they were going to like show me how everything works and this and that. And he goes, get up there, let's see what you got. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Here's your audition. Go for it.
Yeah, I went up there, and it was crazy, man. I just played with the band for the first time on the main stage of Tootsie's, and from that point on, every Friday and Saturday night from 6 to 10, I played the main stage of Tootsie's for the first like year and a half. And that the rest was history as far as that gig and paying my bills, working for tips downtown. So
that is awesome, man. Such a cool story, just how it all comes. So you've been pretty lucky, just all together, all around, you would say. I mean, you've had a pretty lucky journey. I know someone commented today on one of my Facebook posts, like, oh, everybody. I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, I just have been in the right place at the right time and just lucky at times. And just like, I don't even want to call it luck for you, because I think for you, it's just more talent, man, because your talent is just, you didn't need anybody. But I want to really go back and circle back to Trevor for a minute. But how big do you think just his support was for you when you first came to Nashville? Like his media support, like his videoing and everything else, and kind of putting you out there. I mean, just for your end, I mean, do you think like he kind of like was one that really helped push you early on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that his support, I think early on, I don't know that we did a ton of like, really crazy video content, but his support in general has really been a huge factor. I hate to give Trevor any credit, but
no, never. We don't want to give him any credit.
His support has been honestly immeasurable. I mean, he's just one of those guys, like because what people don't see, and I laughed earlier when you said you've been really lucky, because from my vantage point, this town has kicked my ass. Like I have had to claw my way.
Oh yeah.
It's like I've had to literally I mean, when, the Garth thing sounds convenient, but I was on my last strand of rope. Like I had met with everybody in town.
I was considering more the Zach Brown stuff.
I wasn't writing songs that were popular. I wasn't doing what was popular. So I haven't felt very lucky. I'll just tell you that now. I felt very blessed in the last few years.
Well, I was talking more like when like the Zach Brown guy was messaging you and stuff. That was more like, that was lucky. Not like then once you got past that, all of that was just pure hard work, because you were working your ass off. I saw you working your ass off, man. I knew it.
It's probably a little bit of both, a little bit of just God going, okay, here's a moment for you here, and all the hard work I'd put in, kind of culminated in that moment that I had the opportunity. And but Trevor has been, man, that guy. Even just the days, like I said, that you're having a rough time, because there's a lot of them in this business for most of us, and just calling him, and he's always like, dude, you're the best songwriter ever. He just pumps you up, and he just reminds you that you got to keep going, And even just that, but of course the video, just how talented he is, that's obviously played a big factor as well.
He's passionate. He's definitely passionate. He puts his heart and soul into a lot of things, man. And I love watching that guy work.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad he got in behind you and got in your corner and really just did that. And cause I think it helped him too, because it really got him to doing what he wanted to do, and really open doors. So I know we scratched the surface briefly earlier with the whole, like, kind of like when you first met Garth, but what for you, just kind of like Ask Me How I Know out there. When you first wrote that song, tell me we're going to have you play here in a little bit, but before we kind of go into all that, talk about Ask Me How I Know. Talk about like just writing that song and then just thinking, hey, this is gonna be a Garth song when you first figured out he was gonna cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to write a lot by myself. I don't as much anymore because I have a pub deal and I get set up with co-writes, and I just don't have as much time.
Yeah.
But back then, nobody was giving me the time of day, and so it's either write by yourself or don't write. Right? I mean, I had a few co-writes that were getting set up by friends, but mostly I was just kind of on my own, and so it was either, again, write the songs by myself or don't write them. And so I just learned to write by myself and got, I guess, fairly proficient at it. And I was coming home one night from a gig, and it was probably 10:30 at night, and that idea just popped in my head, and I just kind of just started just letting it bounce around, trying to get a feel for what it was going to be. And got home that night and put down a little work tape and just got a vibe for it, and went to bed, woke up the next morning, went downstairs, grabbed some breakfast. It's probably about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then by 9:30, I was writing the song up in my music room. And I wrote, when I write by myself, I pace around. I'll go, walk through the house. When I hit walls, I'll just kind of, you know what I mean? I'll just kind of, it's not like I'm sitting there for 7 hours, just like, hammering on this line. I kind of just, I write, I'll get a line, and then I'll kind of see if something else comes out. If it doesn't, I'll kind of, might walk around the room. I might walk around the house. I might, do whatever. I'll
get the juices moving.
I'm just kind of a fidgeter. So just did that until about 5 o'clock, and I had most of it done at that point, and then went and played a gig, and then finished it that night when I got home about 10:30. And I felt like it was pretty special, but you feel like all of them are, I guess, a lot of them at least. But I did feel like it had a pretty special vibe to it. And I was actually going to cut some songs for my EP.
Yeah.
And Garth was helping me kind of pick songs, and he was, going to help me just with the whole process and give me some advice and all that. And so I sent him like 4 songs that I was thinking of putting on the EP and said, hey, yay, nay to any of these. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like? All that good stuff. And asked me how I know it was one of the songs. And he messaged me and said, hey, man, can you come to the house? And I said, yeah, sure. And I went by, and Garth has a really unique way of communicating. I kind of say it like this, like where you and I and most people talk in numbers.
Yeah.
Garth talks in colors. Like he just has a different way. It's not like he's, I mean, you've heard Garth talk, you can understand what he's saying, but he just has a really unique way of kind of getting his point across or saying what he's trying to say sometimes. And what he was saying wasn't directly saying, I want to cut this song, but what he was saying, I was gathering that.
Yeah, he was hitting on like, oh,
yeah,
maybe he wants this song.
Are you saying you want to cut something of mine? And he goes, yeah, I think I do. And I knew immediately which song. I just knew because the style. I knew the other ones that really fit his style. But
yeah, I
just went, is it Ask Me How I Know? And he goes, yep. And I said, dude, I mean, he said, but here's my concern. And I said, oh gosh, here we go. And he goes, you are an artist, you are a star, and this song is a hit. He said, it's a smash, and I don't want to take it from you. And I was like, bro, take it. Like, we're good. It is all good. So I had to twist his arm a little bit.
It's all good. Go ahead, man.
So I meant it at the time, and I still do. To have Garth Brooks cut your song for me is cooler than anything I'll ever do as an artist.
Yeah,
it really is for me. Like I could go out tomorrow and have a #1 as an artist, and it would mean the world to me. But nothing can ever top having a song you wrote by yourself, cut by your favorite artist, and taken to #1. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Dude, I'm telling you, he had to be your idol. I mean, it was all of our idols back in the 90s.
Oh, absolutely. I have interviews before I ever met him that prove that. I mean, Garth he's shaped me more than anybody as far as an artist and a songwriter.
So we got a couple more minutes so we move on to our next segment. But let's just stick on the topic for a quick second. So when you got asked to open up for him, what did that, if I remember this right, you thought you had some time, right? And then all of a sudden, you had to rush out right away or something?
Yeah, so it was probably early June of 2016. And he told me, he said, hey, you know, why don't you start in San Antonio? In San Antonio, I don't even know if it was announced yet, but he told me, hey, it's going to be September 20-something, 22nd. I can't remember the exact days, but it was sometime in September that San Antonio was going to be. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm there. You know, I can't wait. And so I was kind of banking on that. Well, then he said, hey, he called me one day and he goes, hey, man, he goes, you know, we're playing Vegas back-to-back weekends. And there is a terrace right outside the stadium. It's like this little concrete terrace where it's set up to have bands play, basically, like pre-show, pre-arena shows. Bands would play just as a warm-up entertainment. And he said, hey, I'd really love for you and your band to come out and play that stage before our show. And I was like, dude, I'm totally I'd love to do that. And so he's like, okay, let me get it figured out and I'll give you a shout. And I said, okay, great. Well, couple weeks goes by and we're closing in on that date. It's within a few days, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 days from that date. And I texted him, I said, hey man, you around? And he said, yeah. And I called him and I said, hey, I was just checking in, you know, no pressure if something didn't work out. We're totally good. I just wanted to check and see just to make sure I'm booking flights and all that.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh man, he goes, I'm so sorry. I totally dropped the ball on this. Let me call and figure out what's going on. So he calls me back and he goes, man, I screwed up. It's on me. And I said, dude, no, it's fine. It's not like you don't have a million things going on.
Yeah.
And you should be worrying about my little band, you know, playing this terrace. But he goes, I totally dropped the ball. The first weekend, they already have booked somebody. And I didn't realize that. And so he said, so the first weekend you guys won't be able to play. But he said, the second weekend is open. So I'd still love for you to come play that weekend. And I said, yeah, no, we're good with whatever, and understand if that doesn't work out either. You know, I'm easy. But he said, well, I promised you would be working both weekends, so why don't you just come and open the arena the first weekend? And this is like literally, by the time he called me back this time, it was I think the day before I needed to leave, or maybe 2 days before. I think it was the day before I needed to leave.
Do you have an extra pair of underwear laying around? No.
Oh my gosh, dude. Seriously, I was like, yeah, why not? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this.
How many people were like? What did that arena seat?
20,000, I think.
Was
18 to 20, somewhere around in there.
That had to be your biggest crowd to that point.
Oh, dude, yeah, by like 18,000.
I was gonna say by 17,999.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even close. So I literally flew out, I think, the next day or 2 days later. Like I said, I can't remember exactly. I think it was the next day. I really do. I think I flew out the next day and was opening in the arena that night, and came out to, I think it was 18 or 19,000 people in their seats. And I was a nervous wreck. It was the greatest thing ever. It was.
And you probably went on and killed it like you always do.
Well, I don't know if I did, but it was.
I'm sure you did.
Like I did. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've seen videos out you out there with him and everything else, and you're just out there having the time of your life. But you're just nailing it, man. And you could tell hard work pays off for people. And for Mitch, it has paid off for you, dude.
Thanks, man.
I have a quick little game that we're gonna play. It's called Hot Seat. I'm gonna ask you about 9 questions. We're gonna see how far we get through them. There's kind of everyday questions, I guess. But your dream Crossroads episode, you and another artist, if you ever got to do a Crossroads, who would it be?
John Mayer.
Oh, that'd be good. Your first cassette tape you ever owned?
Johnny Cash.
Ooh. What's your hometown famous for?
Moon pies.
Yep.
Coca-Cola, I think.
What's one song you wish you wrote?
Oh, good God. Everything that glitters is not gold.
Oh, that's a good one, dude. What was your first job?
Picking up range balls.
There you go. You got the hat on too, man. Your favorite vehicle you ever owned?
98 Trans Am.
Oh, favorite Halloween costume you ever wore?
Ninja Turtles.
Ooh, dude, I think you got the most. You got through 7. So the last 2 questions, your favorite getaway location. If you're got some downtime, you're shutting off the phone, where are you going?
Well, before, we're building our house right now on land we just bought.
Nice.
So now it'll just be home. But
yeah,
before that, I would say somewhere in East Tennessee in a cabin in the middle of nowhere.
Sweet, man. And then items still on your bucket list, man. I'm sure you've you probably knocked a lot of them off already, but what's one thing you still want to either do or accomplish sometime in your life, or venue to play or something?
Have a number one record as an artist for sure.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for you.
I hope.
So we're gonna go into a couple songs before we wrap up tonight, but the first one is Then Again. That's your newest one you have out right now, correct?
Yeah, it's the latest single. Yeah.
So tell me about this one a little bit. I mean, where did it come from? And I mean, how was it born? Who did you write it with?
Yeah, this was me and Gary Burr, and Gary's a super talented cat. I love that guy. And I think it was his hook, but he didn't have like a super clear direction on what he wanted to do. He had the hook, and I loved what he was, where he was going with the whole hook idea. And again, I always try to take anything I write as best I can and relate it to something real for me, because to me that's where you can really harness the emotion and make it. If it's real for you, it's going to be real for other people usually. So I just took it and was like, I can relate so much to this because I've been in a couple of serious relationships before my wife that were great girls, and I just was a boy and I wasn't ready. Yeah. And it all worked out. I'm so glad it didn't work out, because my wife, I feel like she's the person I'm meant to be with. But
we're always glad it didn't work out.
yeah. But even with her, we had a rough patch, and we actually broke up for a little while. And then it took some things happening for me to realize just how much I've thought of her, how much I loved her, how much I appreciated who she was. And it's that's what this song kind of embodies. It's that whole, for guys like me and a lot of us out there, guys and girls, that are it's a little harder to commit. I've always had a tough time staying in something, and it's me, it's not them, it's me. But for folks like us, as you get a little older and you start to realize a lot of things, sometimes you realize maybe you should have been holding on to them a little more, So I just thought about my wife and that period we went through and tried to channel that. So,
oh man, well, I love to hear it, man. I love for you to play it for everybody.
Yeah, dude. Let's do it.
I'm gonna go up.
I start thinking I'm fine, and man, that's when I'm right back to thinking about them again. Come on, boy, and get a grip. Grab another round, take a few more sips. You did what you had to do. That love thing just don't work for you. But then again, her kiss is like an answered prayer at the perfect time, and makes you close your eyes and say amen. And then again, she has a laugh like a Sunday drive, top pull back, summertime with your hand out in the wind. Start thinking I'm fine, and man, that's when I'm right back to thinking about them again. And then again, her touch is like a southern breeze on a summer night, that cools the air, dances on your skin. Yeah, then again, she has a heart that shines like gold right through the dark and guides you on no matter where you've been. I start thinking I'm fine, and man, that's when I'm right back to thinking about then again. Yeah, I'm right back to thinking about then again.
Dude, that was amazing. It sounds so good.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So yeah, so at first I think the audio went out like the first 10 seconds, like, oh, we gotta do all this because Zoom calls. I keep forgetting when I went off, you went off for a second. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta bring you back on. So huge shout out to Janet in our chat tonight for saying that. So thank you. I'm kind of learning Zoom as we go because yeah, that's the only way we were able to do this show tonight. It was so weird, guys. I do apologize last week when we did supposed to have Mitch on. I don't know what happened, but we were able to figure it out tonight. It's something with this dang Be Live I'm using. I don't know. All right, man. Well, to close this out tonight, the last one would definitely be Ask Me How I Know. We kind of talked a little bit about how it came about, but you finally this year got to or not just finally, but you re-recorded it or released it on your own. I bet you for yourself being able to release a song like that on your own, because I know Garth for one doesn't do Apple. I don't think you can even find your version or Garth's version of the song on Apple Music or anything, can you?
No, it's only Amazon.
Yeah, okay. That's why I figured he did. I know for a while he was doing like ghost tunes or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was when he first came back out with his first record back. He had a platform called Ghost Tunes that he was on. Yep.
So yeah, I remember that. But so just be able to get that song on Apple and some other platforms, I bet for you was huge. Because now you're able to kind of reach a hell lot more streamers on that end. But how difficult is it for an artist when you kind of do get your song finally cut by the biggest name out there, but then you can't listen to it on like your regular iPhone or something? Is that difficult for you at all or no?
You know, of course it's one of those things where, you know, part of you wishes it was on everything for a lot of reasons, but also, man, I can't complain. I mean, he has done so much to help the songwriters that he cuts their songs and that just in general. So anytime you say, oh, well, I wish it was on this because it would, you know, get more streams, it would get more notoriety, it would, you know, ultimately help me make a living more. But then it's negated by the fact that he does all of these things that help you do that more than any other artist does. So it's kind of like, yeah, it would be great, but I mean, I respect his decision and I understand where he's coming from, and I've had talks with him about it, and I think, you know, where he stands with it is it makes plenty of sense to me. And you know, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna do it because, you know, to each his own.
I agree.
But I understand and respect where
he's at a position where he can. I mean, he knows no matter what he puts out, he's going to sell. I mean, he's going to sell 1 million copies of whatever he puts out, probably. I mean, so he could go and focus on one market. I mean, you need to. All of us normal people need to hit every market we can hit. We just spread out.
I'm at a different stage of my career. So
so we'll get there. Well, you'll get there eventually. I had a buddy, their band were on Elektra Records for a while, and I made the mistake years ago. I'm like, oh, you're on Metallica's record label or something like that. They're like, yeah, well, there's a difference. They tell the record label what to do, and then the record label tells us what to do. I was like, yeah, okay. I see how that works. Yep.
Sure.
So yeah, to close this out, man, we'd love to hear Ask Me How I Know tonight.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's nothing better than hearing the songwriter's version of it. All right, I'm not going to mute myself this time, so that way you guys could hear Mitch.
Okay, here we go. You're stubborn as they come. You'll never settle down. You'll always be the one who doesn't stick around. You make all the rules. You're set in your ways. gotta have your freedom, and you gotta have your space. But one day you'll meet the girl you swore you'd never find. Start feeling things you never felt and spending all your time trying to figure out how she got this hold on you. And when you start to fall, you'll hold on to your pride. Start building up your walls and never let her get inside. And you'll push her away, cause that's all you know how to do. And then she'll leave, and you won't beg her not to go. Ask me how I know. Go on and shake your head and tell me that I'm wrong. Say I'm just another fool, and this is just another song. But I know how you are, cause I know how I am. And I'd give anything to go back and try again. Cause one day you'll meet the girl you swore you'd never find. Start feeling things you never felt and spending all your time trying to figure out how she got this hold on you. And when you start to fall, you hold on to your pride. Start building up your walls and never let her get inside. And you'll push her away, cause that's all you know how to do. And then she'll leave, and you won't beg her not to go. Ask me how I know. And you best put this song on repeat. Maybe then you won't end up like me. Cause one day you'll meet the girl you swore you'd never find. Start feeling things you never felt and spending all your time trying to figure out how she got this hold on you. And when you start to fall, you'll hold on to your pride. Start building up your walls and never let her get inside. You push her away, cause that's all you know how to do. And then she'll leave, and you won't beg her not to go. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Cause man, I know.
Damn, that had to be a hard one to get rid of. Oh, I love that tune, man.
Thanks, man.
That had to be hard, though. I mean, I guess the only way that song would not be hard to get rid of is if it's Garth.
Yeah, it was not hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's him, I guess it's like, yeah, go ahead and take it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, that is such a good tune, dude. Well, Mitch, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. We're gonna bring you back for a couple more songs in about 15 minutes, if that's cool with you. Yeah, go ahead, take a break, and then I'll shoot you a quick email when we're ready to bring you back, and we'll do an after show. So, but I appreciate you hanging out, man. Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, there you are. Yeah, I appreciate you hanging out, and we'll talk in a few minutes.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Hi, man. Thank you. Guys, that was Mitch Rossell. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us and rescheduling and coming back on a Friday night. We're going to bring him back in about 15 minutes. So don't go anywhere. No. If you are in our Patreon group, come back in about 15, 20 minutes to our Patreon after show. We're going to have Mitch come back about 2 or 3 more songs, break them down for you, and kind of see where he was when he wrote them. But I loved talking with Mitch tonight. It just was this a cool show, break it down with this guy. And I'll be able to watch him kind of when he first came to Nashville, when he worked with Eric, and just kind of grow and work his ass off. I mean, he was probably, I know earlier I said lucky. Those messages from like Zach Brown and stuff, that was luck. But where he got with Garth, I think that was kind of reward for how hard Mitch worked as just an artist and the grind he would do in the bars in Nashville. And you still see it today. Right now I know Nashville is in the bars, everything's slow reopening and all this other crap right now. So hopefully it'll go away soon. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're bringing him back. Next week, though, I want to talk real quick before we log out for the night. We're coming live Wednesday night, not Tuesday night next week. Wednesday night with singer-songwriter Craig Campbell. Don't miss this one. This is going to be a fun show, guys. I have been looking forward to talking with him for a long time, and it's going to be a good one. So we'll see you guys next week.
The Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin' Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.